And we're back with the HPI Racing Super Nitro RS4. Got the body complete. I went with the Tamiya orange, and I finished the last of a big black Traxxas can to back the inside. So looks pretty good. I opted not to use the spoiler just because I usually don't put spoilers on the bodies I do. I think it looks pretty good. I also want to do something a little different than the WR8. So we did the contrasting color with no spoiler, and I think it came out just the way I wanted. The only difference here is that one of the stickers is extremely close to the rear wheel well, and it's a little off here, so that's the only difference really. These little bubbles, but this one has it too, so on the other side. But yeah, for the most part came out pretty well. I still have to put the shim in the transmission, and I have to find the E-clips that go to the belt tensioner because they're a little bit smaller than the standard ones. So I'm gonna go try to source those, and then we'll get that gasket or washer installed. Alright, so I was able to find some clips to retain the belt tensioner, and per advice of some other RS4 enthusiasts, I went ahead and flipped over the belt tensioner, and there is no clearance issues here. I put that washer right on the end of the brake disc hub, and there's still a little bit of play, but it's definitely better than it was. There's a little bit of play here, so I can see why those little washers came with this initially, but again, the original E-clips in those washers I have misplaced. I'm sure I'll find them sometime when I don't need them at all, but for now this is together and it seems to be okay to me, so we're gonna go with it. I am gonna use this old style air filter with this, just because it's the only one that fits with this idle screw here. And I went ahead and put the fuel line under, and with the zip tie, it allows for the brake linkage to slide right through there while holding the fuel line above the flywheel. When you press down on the fuel line, it really doesn't go near the flywheel, so I think that's okay. But yeah, I think this is ready to begin the break-in process of this engine. It's got a brand new OS 8, not one of the knockoffs, and fresh charged battery. That was weird. I think it's fine, but yeah, I think this body came out pretty good. Yeah, so this is pretty exciting. This has been a long time coming. The only thing that was really holding this back was that decision on what clutch bell I was going to use and gearing, as well as making sure that I had the clearance between that middle belt and the clutch bell. I went ahead and decided that there was no need to wait anymore to complete this, and I'm glad that I did that and got the body painted as well. So this car is ready to be broken in, and I gotta say, these two look pretty good together. So it's really nice to see these side by side. This is definitely one of the best items that HPI has ever created. Both the Super Nitro RS4 as well as the WR8. Either one, electric or nitro. This is the perfect 10th scale platform, and having owned both and driven both, I gotta say they're one of the superior product when it comes to this RC hobby. This car can really take a beating, and it's definitely worth every penny. I'll be interested to see if they come out with a clear version of the Cosworth version of the WR8, because I definitely would like to get one of those and put it on my Super Nitro Rally, as I did for the Super Nitro RS4. But anyways, let's get to breaking this thing in. All right, so we're fueled up. The remote's ready, just in case. I'll show you what I mean by there's not much clearance between that idle screw and the carburetor air filter mount. So that's the only one that fit. But I like how the yellow sticker looks on the gas tank. I did it on the other side as well. Also put one here just to spice things up a little bit under the hood. It's a cool logo. So without further ado, I'm gonna go ahead and see about getting this thing started, and I'll check back with you once I think things are headed in the right direction. Such a good looking car. So this is about 45 seconds after it's been idling since I got it started. It took about, I don't know, between 20 and 30 pulls after I got it primed. I won't be surprised if it stalls out, but this is where we're at. See, I was waiting for that. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and mess around with just getting this thing to idle, make sure it stays running. I'm gonna idle this first tank through pretty much the whole way, and I'll report back. So now it's idling perfectly. All I did really was I put the idle screw in a little bit and then turned it back out as needed. Calls for the 1.5. Rich. See, it's just under half tank now. So I'll probably do one more tank of idle, and then I'll start driving it slowly and increase that throughout the tanks as I get through 5 or 6. So yeah, I'm not going to bore you guys with some idling, but it does sound good. So yeah, we'll report back. Man, does this combination sound good. This HPI tuned pipe with this HPI Star Pro, I don't know, 15. I'll have to look at the box again. But yeah, this is a great engine. And that was a really successful first tank there. Idled beautifully once I got that idle a little bit higher. So I'm gonna do just one more tank of idling just so that this engine's nice and proper lubricated before I start putting it under any load and driving the car. So probably do another clip of some of the second tank idling, and then we'll get to see some action. This is pretty cool. This body came out really good. I really like the way that HPI does their masking, and I like the way they have their stickers pre-cut. Unfortunately, I didn't quite line it up perfect. You can see it's just a little off, but that's on me. But they make it very easy to do these bodies. So I really hope to see some other stuff besides rally car bodies, because we still do have the Super Nitros, and if you know, they came out with a Corvette and, you know, the Alfa Romeo, all the other stuff, the Nissan 350Z, sorry, the Ford F-150 Lightning, just to name a few. But yeah, that would be nice. It's just wishful thinking, I guess, at this point. But yeah, this came together really nice, and looking forward to seeing this thing in action. I'm pretty excited about this. Like I said, it's been sitting for a long time because I wasn't sure what to do. I'm glad I just, you know, took charge and made it work. So that's enough of me rambling. Let's get this second tank started. It's having a little more troubles continuing to idle halfway through the second tank. And I'm also noticing a small exhaust leak. So I think what I'll do is I'll put another zip tie on the end here. It's probably going to stall. You know what? I'm gonna halfway through tank 2. Let's put it under load. So there's nothing interesting here at this point. I'm just gonna keep doing this until this tank is over. It's just about under half tank. So I'll report back. So I like to shut them off. I'm trying to do that. Well, I am doing it just before the tank runs out, just so that the engine doesn't run dry. So it's nice to finally see the tires contact the road. See this thing move a little bit, some life into it. And that's 2 tanks of the braking process. So I really don't have too much fuel left. I'm gonna have to go get some more. So yeah, probably just use the rest of this fuel to finish this break-in and get some more fuel. I really like the Blue Thunder. I know it's still possible to get it on A-Main, but I like to pick stuff up in person, so might have to make a trip to a hobby shop to get some Nitro. Yeah, that's pretty good. Let's continue this break-in process. Here's the 3rd tank. There's a little bit of oil back here, but nothing coming from the engine that I can see. Just a little bit of spatter from the leak here. Again, I'll get another zip tie on there. It should do it. But oh goodness. Gotta mess with the steering too. There's a lot of oil coming out of the exhaust. So I think I'm gonna lean it out a little bit. It doesn't have a set screw. It's just to turn it with your thumb. So we'll see. I could turn the idle up. You can definitely tell this is a high RPM engine. And another thing I wanted to note is following each of the 2 tanks, on the first tank, I accidentally touched the cooling head expecting to burn myself. The cooling head was very, not hot. It was surprising. And then I purposely grabbed the cooling head after the second tank, and I was able to have a firm grip on it without any indication of it being too hot. So what I'm saying, I guess, is this engine runs cool. And I'm sure it wants to be revved very, very high all the time. So yeah, kind of had a hard time saying that. But it's like a Traxxas 3.3. I'm sure it's going to stall. I haven't really even been giving it half throttle. So this is going to be fun in the lot. Ooh, I don't want to get too comfy too soon. That's going to be amazing, especially with the new transmission clutch. I got to make sure I have extra spare gears in this combination size. So that's tank 3. All right, so it's time to change the zip ties here on the manifold. There's just a little more leaking than I'm comfortable with. So I'm gonna go ahead and put some new zip ties on there and wipe all the oil off, and we'll get this 4th tank started. I was able to grab the cooling head right after the 3rd tank. It's pretty impressive. I've always been burned by cooling heads after I finish running them. Obviously I'm not putting a lot of RPMs through right now, but it's pretty interesting. So let's get these zip ties replaced and get that 4th tank started. I went ahead and did a half turn in on the high end, and I just put the idle to what I'm used to seeing in the other normal carburetors. So that sounds good to me. See how this second zip tie holds up on that exhaust. Too far left. I gotta mess with the steering still. I'm gonna mess with the steering. But man, that sounds nice. Maybe that second zip tie was all it needed. So yeah, let's see. Needs to go left. Leave it at 0 and see how it does. It's so nice to see this driving. The last time I drove it, I smashed it into a curb and it looked like an accordion. Actually, that's false. The last time I drove it, it was together, but it was on a carbon fiber chassis that I had custom made that was second, I would say makeshift. I was gonna say second hand, but that's not what I meant. It's, I think I showed it in the pile of parts at some point going over this car, but yeah, it felt makeshift. I wanted legit, so I've been rebuilding it slowly, and this is just really nice to see it moving. Oh, that's great. I heard that shift. So yeah, you can tell this engine really wants to run at high RPMs. So changing that exhaust leak, leaning it out a half turn on the high end, and increasing the idle is all I've done so far. Could probably decrease the idle now. could probably decrease the idle. I can't do it on the remote because I did it on the carburetor. I'll decrease the idle in the next tank. I'm just going to keep driving it for now, finish this tank. So that was great success. I was able to drive it. I think it shifted once or twice. Still didn't really pin it all the way. So it was a great success of a fourth tank. I was having so much fun that I actually let it run out of gas before I could shut it down, but that's all right. Doesn't matter what part of this car is seen. It's just all around an attractive vehicle. HPI really did a good job here. I really wish they would take note of what Team Associated is doing with the vintage stuff and just re-release different variants of the HPI RS4 electric and nitro and do it as a kit. Don't even provide the electronics. That's all we want. And I can definitely say I speak for the majority of us HPI fans on that one. But that's another subject for another time. I'm glad that this exhaust didn't leak more after that second zip tie was installed. There is a little bit of oil coming through the front of the block, but that's to be expected, but nothing to write home about. I think this is more dirt than anything, just because I actually slid into one of the mulch areas. So I think that's just dust from that more than oil. So yeah, that's pretty much all I have to report at this point. I'm gonna go ahead and do another tank. It's kind of hard to open it up here because I really don't want to crash this again. You can see that the front body posts are leaning forward. That was from the crash. You can see that the front bumper is kind of tired, if you will. And likewise, these rear posts are a little forward. It was a bad accident. It was basically like both ends of the car were scrunched together. It looked like an accordion, like I said. So this is exciting to see this car back in action. So this is the fifth tank. It started right up, and I didn't change the idle, and it doesn't want to move forward on its own as much as it did before. I was able to grab the cooling head after the fourth tank as well. It's pretty amazing. I've never not been burned by a post-running engine cooling head. So this was definitely set to be extremely rich from the factory, because all I did was turn it in a half turn, and with the first three tanks under the stock settings, I think there was definitely the desired lubrication of the braking process. So this is the fifth tank. I probably have enough nitro for 2, maybe 3 more tanks of the RS4 with the small tank. And then I'll have to get more nitro. So Yeah, these tires are too slick. Not for this area. Can't open it up. So what I'll do is I'll finish driving this here, and then we'll take it to the car park where I usually drive, finish off my Nitro. It just looks so good. I hope the tire glue holds up to the power. I'm gonna have to figure out what sets of wheels will go for this, because I only have a couple other sets, and I don't know if the rubber has enough life left in it. Yeah, see, can't do anything here. So I'm gonna, did I hit a stick? Let me see. Oh no. All right, let's see if there's any damage to the belt. I can still see the plate on that pulley, so I don't think that did anything. I think that I might have to loosen this tensioner. So let's assess the damage to the belt. All right, so this is a first for me. I don't seem to see any real damage to the belt as I look at it. I don't think there's any damage that would occur on the pulley. I think that some bouncing around perhaps just knocked it off the pulley. So this will be something to watch out for, and I might be contacting that eBay source from South Korea to get another couple sets of belts for the Super Nitro. So the belt looks fine. I think it just popped off the pulley. You can see right there next to the gas tank that everything's intact. So let's see, I knew something was funny. There was a weird distribution of power when I started to input on the throttle. I'm just glad there wasn't any crazy damage to the belt, because those can be hard to find. So I'm gonna look into seeing about how to get that belt back on the pulley, and then we'll finish this tank. And if the results of this tank are good, then we'll finish the rest of the Nitro at the open car park. All right, so after moving some things out of the way, I'm looking at that pulley and I don't see a retaining wall as you would on these pulleys here. But I also don't see the holes like you would if it wasn't there. So I'm gonna have to do some investigations to be sure that the whole thing is complete. One thing for sure is that the front belt is not destroyed, so with this minor setback, I don't think it's a total loss. I don't remember exactly what went into building it, as I started the rebuild a long time ago. So, but if you look right there at that pulley, it looks like the wall on it close to the gas tank is very short or non-existent, so the belt just slid right off it. you can see here on these pulleys that there's kind of like a retaining wall, but it doesn't look like it's missing when you look at it from the other side there. So I'm gonna have to do some further investigations to diagnose exactly what happened. But we're halfway through the 5th tank, and on the 6th and 7th tank here, we're gonna rip it and see what this transmission can do with that new clutch in there. So let's see what's going on in that middle pulley. All right, so this is what we're dealing with. I gotta say that Traxxas really screwed up when they were making the Nitro 4 Tech. It's kind of a rat's nest there with the wires, but this is what convenience looks like. HPI really knocked it out of the park here with this electronics cluster, module, whatever you want to call it. The way that this all comes out and is reinstalled seamlessly and without much effort deserves a standing ovation. Removing this center chassis was not difficult. I didn't have to disassemble each end of the car in order to just get something simple out, so I just wanted to touch upon how nicely they did there. But this is what that pulley looks like, and like I said, the retaining wall to it is very short or shallow, if you will. No wonder the belt came right off that. So I'm going to go ahead and remove that and be sure that things are what they appear to be. Alright, with the top deck out of the way, you can see just how short those walls are on that pulley. And I didn't have any extra stuff in my spare parts, but got to brainstorming and I remembered that I had some broken pulleys in another project, so lo and behold, I will be able to source a retaining wall for the good pulley here from this bad pulley here. You can see the teeth on it are completely chewed, but the retaining wall still has its height. So I will be able to replace that. You can see that it's really shallow. So let's pop this E-clip off and then compare the two and see that this one's still usable, so we can get this break-in process complete. The one on the right is from the Super Nitro. The one on the left is the donor part, and you can see just from the dirt on there that the donor part has much more height. So let's go ahead and install this and see about continuing the break-in process. That looks a lot better. You can see that the wall is the same height as the belt itself. So that should have a lot more trouble sliding off. So that's good news. So let's get this break-in complete with this 5th tank, and then take it to the car park. It's my buddy Omar. So yeah. Alright, so that went together very nicely. This car is a pleasure to work on. It's well thought out. I don't think that anyone can do a better job as a whole trying to accomplish something like this. It's just an absolute masterpiece. So let's finish that break-in process and see what this thing can really do. I'm pretty eager to finish the break-in, in case you guys didn't gather that. Just kidding, but I went ahead and finished it. My phone died, I wasn't able to record, but the new retaining wall for that pulley held up, and I figured out why the steering is messed up. It's because I think the teeth, the splines in the servo horn are messed up. Either that or the servo itself needs to be replaced. So I think it's the former, but yeah, this was success. Got the break-in complete, got the bugs worked out as far as the exhaust leak in that faulty pulley wall, and I can go ahead and get the proper servo saver on this servo, so the steering will be correct, and we should be able to consider this break-in complete, have some fun with this car. I only have a little bit of nitro left, so I'll maybe be able to get 2 tanks out of it, see the potential of the engine. I might have some other fuel left in some other vehicles that's still good enough to siphon to get some more runtime here, but yeah. All right, so it did end up having a servo issue. The splines on the servo horn were fine, so I swapped the servo and put a Nitro Stampede saver on there, and now we're in business. Ready to take this to the car park to get some open throttle passes. I've got maybe enough fuel for 2 tanks, so without further ado, did not take much to start right up. The steering is going left. That's too far to the right. That's good. Just make sure the tires didn't come disconnected. Feel fine. But yeah, I've been commenting on HPI's social media, being a little disappointed from their new releases because they're trying to meet a market that's already oversaturated. They should be definitely catering to their older crowd in the same way that Team Associated is. It would be really nice to see some new variants or re-release variants of the RS4 because they have so many bodies that could go on it, and I don't know, you could go on and on about the subject, but what I'm leading up to is I went to tag them in some of my Instagram stuff because I've been posting stuff about how awesome their cars are. But because of my negative comments about how their new release is, I think they did something so that I can't mention them in my posts. So I messaged them and we'll see what happens, but if they don't want me to be talking shit, I mean, I won't, because you can see that I love their products, but it's pretty interesting. So we'll see what happens. I can still comment on their Facebook stuff, which is rarely where I've commented. So maybe, I don't know, I guess Meta is both of them, so I don't know. Whatever. I'm just rambling. That's just something that happened randomly today. I hear a shift right there. Maybe it's early. I'm not focusing on the shifting right now. I'm mostly just trying to run the engine. Oh, that was a shift. And I was able to siphon a little more gas from my 8T. There we go. And one of my Sens that I didn't end up driving. So I've got a little more fuel. Let's see how much we got right here. That was 2 shifts I heard. Alright, we're just about half tank. Just about half tank. Oh, that's beautiful. That's fast. Oh, that's awesome. Ooh. I mean, if anything, I'd be an advocate for their product, and for what we're actually interested in is the user. Oh my goodness. This is going to be too fast to drive. So we can consider this car broken in. Both the engine and the unit in general after being rebuilt. I worked out some bugs. I had that exhaust leak. Had the steering issue. The belt came off and I was able to source a plate to keep using the same pulley. I think that's about it. Oh, I knew that was going to happen. So that's a wrap. I don't know if you saw what happened and can still see it rolling. That was one of the things I was afraid of. I'll have to reglue these. Oh, look at that. There's two of them. Alright, so I made it 3/4 of a tank, 4/5, whatever, and the tires came off. So that was kind of to be expected. I thought it was going to happen sooner, but at least I got to drive this thing full speed and see what the potential is. I really didn't even leave it open long and or know if I got it to completely full throttle, so we'll have to see about that after I get some new wheels for it. I'll have to see about some modern wheels, or find out whether or not gluing these is going to be worth it. I've got a couple other pairs that I can look into making sure that are glued before I run it, but I don't know how well it'll hold, so I think some newer wheels will do better for this. I don't want to run the WR8 wheels on this. I want to have some nice street looking wheels, so that is something that I'll be looking into, and I can definitely say that I'm satisfied with this whole project overall. I'm glad I decided to just figure it out and complete it and get it going. Yeah, so thanks for checking it out. Thanks for your interest in Nitro, and we will be seeing you with more cool stuff like this.